taking it day by day. I think the most important thing is getting back to work this week at practice and executing in practice and building good habits, and then allowing those habits to roll over into Sunday. You can't live in the past. What's happened has happened. We can't do anything about it, but what we can do is attack this week with a great mindset and go out there Sunday and play to the best of our ability.
Greg Johnson.
Hey, Darius. One thing Coach Daboll said after the Eagles game the other day was that he thinks one of the reasons that Daniel Jones can create more explosive plays is that, he has some guys around him that can create explosive plays. So I'm wondering, just what do you guys as a receiving room think right now that you need to do better?
Make them when we get the chance. You don't control when your shots come, but, you control how they go when you get them. And I think that, just from a receiver standpoint, all you can do is catch the ball when it comes your way and then try to do something with it when you get it in your hands. And like you said, we have a lot of capable guys on this team, and, we just have to do a better job of doing that going forward.
Yeah, I mean, what goes into, yards after the catch and trying to do more in space when these guys get the ball? Like, what do you guys do in practice, I guess, to work on that?
Yeah, I mean, some of it is scheme. Certain routes are easier to catch and run with the ball than others, but mostly it just starts as a receiver just attacking the ball and having a mindset that you're going to, not just go down or not just catch and fall or, not just catch and look to be conservative. And, having that attacking mindset as a wideout kind of helps you build that habit. And then, once you have that habit, it just starts to show up more and more.
Thank you.
Paul Schwartz.
Hey, Darius. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Do you have any theory or explanation as to why your team is so much better on the road than at home, especially the offense?
Other than coincidence, I couldn't necessarily point to anything specific. It's just so happened this year that we've played, better on the road than we have at home. Obviously, we want to play better at home. That's the fun part, is be able to play in front of your own fans and score and, be able to celebrate with, your 70,000 plus strong. But, obviously, this week we're on the road again. So hopefully we do continue to play at a high level on the road. That'll bode well for us. But whenever it does come time for us to play at home again, obviously we plan and hope to put a better performance out there.
You've been on the road for, many games you've been on at home, and what the road entails, the hostile crowd, the whatever, towels you can't hear on offense, all that stuff. Do you feel differently? You know what I mean? And at home, does some of that, maybe the fans, not a good start, the fans getting on their own team, does that pressure you? I mean, when you take the field at home on the road, is there a difference that maybe weighs on you?
Me specifically?
Yeah, I mean, you can speak for yourself more than the team, I would think, right?
Yeah. No, not really. I mean, I guess when you're on the road, like the mindset is definitely different because it literally is just us. It's us and, whatever, fans have traveled to the game. So obviously, we're significantly outnumbered. So it's more of a back against the wall feeling when you're on the road. So kind of brings you together as a team, in that mindset and just kind of building around that. And then obviously, when you have a home game, it's kind of like, all right, we're at home, it's our people, our fans, we know they're going to be on our side. So there's definitely two different mindsets, but at the end of the day, none of that has anything to do with running, blocking, catching, and tackling. And at the end of the day, we have to do those things better if we want to win. So that's kind of why I say it's coincidence because, it doesn't, cheering or booing doesn't help you catch or throw any better, so that's what we got to do to win. And yeah.
Okay, thanks, Darius. Appreciate it.
We'll take two more. Mark Cannizzaro.
Hey, Darius, appreciate you doing this. I'm just coming off of Paul's question there a moment ago about being on the road. Specifically, I don't believe you played in Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken, but it's historically a very difficult place for road teams to play in. I'm curious what your impression is from what you know of it, and you can talk about their defense, how difficult they are to deal with.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's a intense football environment. Obviously very hostile. They're very passionate fans over there in Pittsburgh. Is what I've heard from all accounts. And obviously on film, their defense is very talented. They have a really good front. They got talent and youth in the back end. They got backers that, fit aggressive. And I think probably for the past, before even some of y'all was born, the Steelers have lived up to a standard on defense, and they've maintained that for a really long time. And they still hold that true. And it's obviously going to take a physical 4-quarter game for us to be able to beat them.
I don't think that sense has just started just because we lost our 5th game of the season. I think it's we felt that way past couple weeks, and for whatever reason, we haven't necessarily been getting the results we expected. I think defense is playing really well, and we got to do our part picking it up on offense and going out there scoring points and touchdowns. And we understand that, and we know that, and that's our job is as an offense to go out there and score points. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It doesn't necessarily matter how it's going to look as long as we're putting up points and the end result is what we want. That's all that matters going forward.
Okay, one final question is obviously there was 8 sacks last week. Is that just Andrew Thomas missing, or is that just a lot of people made mistakes?
No, I don't think it had much to do with AT being not being out there. I think just kind of the way the game that was going early. We had some trouble with protection, and I think that kind of hurt us in our past game. I think from our perspective as offensive linemen, I think it didn't help our quarterback, and him being down on the ground that many times, in the first, second quarter is not really what he's used to so far this year. So I think there's a lot of blame to put on us as, the front 5 up there early on. And eventually we did settle, but later on, probably late second quarter, but at that point kind of felt like the game started to slip too much. Got to do a better job establishing the run game so we stay out of those passing situations and giving up 8 sacks. You're not going to win many games giving up 8 sacks in this league, and we understand that, and we own that as offensive line, and we got to work to be better for sure. And that's kind of unacceptable in our offensive line room.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Paul Schwartz.
Hey, John.
Hi.
Good. How you doing? I want to ask you a question. What was your perspective of Dexter Lawrence as an opponent when you were with the Packers? And then how did that change maybe in the summer in training camp? And maybe how did that change after watching him the first several games this year as a teammate? Yeah.
Dexter has been a force in this league since he's come in since day one. Every year, kind of looking over the schedule, you kind of looking and thinking about all the guys you got coming up. And played the Giants twice with Dexter as my opponent, and that was always kind of one of those games that you have circled, knowing that you're going to get one of the best in the business, and you're going to have to bring your A game when it comes to that. But coming here, being on this side, seeing him as more than just a player, as a teammate, as a person. He's phenomenal in all aspects. He just demands so much attention when he's out there in the football field. I think it would be not very smart to leave him a one-on-one block with a center or guard, and he requires a lot of attention. He's constantly getting double teamed, and you see how explosive he is and how much. How good of a player he is, and I think he's probably tops in the league in sacks and double teams acquired, and it's just really special player, really special person, and happy to have him over here and only have to go against him during the weekdays.